Hey everyone, it's Vivian. In this video, I'll be giving some honest college advice for all of you freshers out there. I'm a recent graduate from Imperial College London and I just started my master's, so some of the advice that I'll be giving in this video might be tailored more towards students studying at Imperial. And I understand with coronavirus still out and about, things are very different now from the way that they were before. So in this video, I'll be talking more about emotions, interpersonal relationships, mental well-being, as well as some general uni stuff. So let's get into it. Being born and raised in Malaysia, I've been conditioned to think that as long as I worked hard, I will get a good job and live a good life. Now that strategy has worked up until my A-levels, but that isn't always the case in uni. You might work super hard on this exam and there's gonna be someone else who doesn't study and they get a first class and you get a 2-2. And that's just the reality of things, and that is okay. There are going to be other aspects where your work ethic does pull through, which brings me to tip number 2. When you come to Imperial, there are going to be people who are smarter than you or more talented than you. It might be a little bit difficult to adjust to in the beginning if you're always used to being the top few in your school. And so going from that person who's used to receiving awards to just being average can take a toll on your self-esteem and mental health. You might start to feel a little insecure or even question if you are good enough. And I just wanted to reassure you that you are good enough. Just know that you and everyone else feels the same way. So instead of seeing this as a demotivating thing, play it to your advantage. I like to take it like this. If you're surrounded by people who are constantly working hard, you naturally want to become a better version of yourself, and that's where personal growth starts. I don't know how this will go, but if I'm not mistaken, I think many clubs and societies are currently doing online events or classes even. Your workload will definitely be much less in your first year compared to your second, third, or fourth year, and since time is on your hands, why not use it to try something new? There are 380 different clubs and societies at Imperial, so I'm sure that there will definitely be something of your interest. This was something that I wish I did more of, but didn't. Let me explain. In school, I thought that people would judge me if I wasn't very good at everything. And to be honest, I still have that insecurity now, but much less. And so I remember wanting to sign up for this dance team. But when I went to their taster session, I saw that, wow, everyone was like super fit and also super good at dancing. And so I never ended up auditioning for the team or even trying out. And until this day, I wondered if I did that, would I have gotten in? I wouldn't say that I really regret this because I was still involved in another society that gave me the opportunity to act and dance on stage in this student-led production. I had a lot of fun and I actually ended up producing that show the following year, and this was the place where I met many of my very close friends. Although I was very committed to just this one society, I'd say that there's no better time to try out something new than in your first year. Unless you've already discovered what you're like super passionate about, by all means, do what you love, but you are here with a fresh start, and nobody really knows who you are, so even if you do make a massive fool out of yourself, at least you won't have regrets not having tried something. In uni, you will have a lot of freedom, but also a lack of structure in terms of how your classes will go. And so your timetable might look a little something like a 10 a.m. lecture, then a break, labs, and then maybe a talk in the evening, and then the next day you'll have like one thing to do. How you want to spend your free time is of course entirely up to you, but it's always good to stay organized and stay on top of things. Having a planner system of some sorts is always useful, so I use Google Calendars to schedule in my independent study time, lecture hours, any rehearsals that I needed to go to, or any meetings, appointments, all that kind of stuff. And when things started to get really busy, staying organized was the one thing that kept me sane. This was something that I wish I did more of, and Imperial offers a ton of services to the point where it's actually overwhelming for me. So I would suggest you to read up on some of the services that your uni has to offer and take note of the ones that you might actually find useful. One that I took for granted for the longest time was the career service. I didn't actually know about it until sometime in my second year when I needed to apply for an internship to get my CV checked, and that was only when I started actually attending all of these career fairs because I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I still don't, but it's okay. So yeah. Other things to keep in mind are like library services, Imperial Award, PG connections if you're a postgrad. Since the tuition fees aren't cheap, you might as well make full use of what Imperial has to offer anyway. I'm gonna straight up call myself out on this one, but the sooner that you get over FOMO, the happier your life will be, and that is
facts.
My insecurity is that I care a lot about what other people think of me. I want them to think that I'm interesting and fun. And so in my head, that meant saying yes to most things. And sometimes I go to events because I really want to, but there are also a number of times where I just go because I'm afraid that people would have fun without me and that I'd miss out. But as I got a little bit older, I started to enjoy Friday night ins, and I also really enjoyed just staying at home all weekend. And that's completely okay. With that being said, however, I think that it's also important to find a balance between not FOMOing, but also still making an effort to keep in contact with friends who matter to you. Because if you start saying no all of the time, then people are just going to assume that you aren't interested in hanging out anymore. I don't know how relevant this will be now with social distancing regulations as well as some students studying from home. But if you are in London, it is a massive privilege to be living there. There is so much to see and so much to do. I've been living in London for 3 years and there's still so many things on my London bucket list. The Christmas lights are magical, the bookstores are amazing, and the coffee shops are super cute. London is also a culturally diverse city, and so being Asian, this meant that I had a ton of Asian restaurants to go to or even stop by the Asian supermarket whenever I was missing home. And going a little bit off tangent here, homesickness for international students is a thing, and there will be days where you just feel like curling up in your bed and crying because you miss home. And my best advice to you is to find a couple of friends that are maybe from the same country as you and maybe hold potlucks together every now and then. I felt that this has really helped me divert my attention from just constantly thinking about home, because being surrounded by people who have a similar upbringing to you can just feel very comforting. When you come into uni, you're going to meet people of different cultural backgrounds, so the way that you think, your values, and the way that you operate might be completely different. And in a way, this can be a kind of culture shock, but it's also such an amazing opportunity, because when else are you going to be surrounded by such a diverse group of people who are also the same age as you? So before you become too quick to judge someone for the way that they do things, try to put yourselves in their shoes. Be genuinely interested in learning more about people, be a good listener, and be open-minded. That way you'll have so much more to learn and you'll also make the most of your uni experience. I hope that this video was somewhat helpful. Let me know if you're interested in seeing these kinds of college videos. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Settling in, settling down.